Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. Today, we're going to be talking about spell casting, specifically the Masters of Magic, the Wizards. At 9th level, Wizards get their 5th level spells. The 5th level spells are that wonderful ground when the lower tiers of play, 1st and 2nd, are coming to a close, and you're getting what might be considered the capstone spells for that time period of your adventure. Anything beyond this, you're going to have less spell slots to cast them, and although they're world-altering spells, you don't get them until you're in Tier 3 and 4 of play. So 5th level spells are pretty potent, and they have a lot of really powerful applications to kind of finish off your low-level adventures. I've chosen a top 5 for Wizards to pick from when they come to this point. Starting with number 5, we have Bigbys Hand. This creates a large, translucent hand that just exists. You concentrate on the spell for a minute, and the hand follows your commands. You can use it to punch people, you can use it to push people, you can use it to grapple people, and you can even use it to interpose between you and another creature. The cool thing about Bigbys Hand is that most of its abilities, whether it's talking about strength, grappling, pushing, or blocking, are based on its strength score. And it has a strength score of 26. So most creatures are going to have a really hard time dealing with this hand. It's going to grab onto them. It has advantage on its pushing and grappling checks if the creature is medium or smaller. And once it's got a creature, it can hold them, it can crush them, it can push them really far. When you tell it with the bonus action to push someone, if it succeeds on its check against them, it'll push them 5 feet plus another 5 for each point in your spellcasting modifier. That's up to 30 feet of force movement for failing a strength check against an animated hand that has 26 strength. That's nuts. And if you use it to block a passage or to interpose itself, if a creature has a strength score lower than the hand is a solid object to them and they cannot pass through it. They can attack the hand, but it's got a 20 AC and the same number of hit points as you do. So yeah, Bigbys Hand is a solid pick for battlefield control, attacking, does force damage. It's not the strongest spell damage-wise, but when it comes to just pure battlefield utility, this thing is Mage Hand's bigger brother and is phenomenally strong. Next at number 4, we have Dominate Person. That controversial spell where you walk up to someone, you cast it, they make a wisdom save, and if they fail, you have now successfully mind-controlled them. You can give them general commands, and they will follow your commands, whether or not they want to. This is not charm. This is mind control. You can make them do things that hurt. You can have them fight for you. You can have them jump off a cliff if you want. You can even use your action after the fact to take direct control of them and dictate them like a puppet. Every time they take damage, they can repeat the saving throw, but it is still one of the most potent control abilities out there. You can even upcast it to make the domination last longer. Standard lasts for only a minute, but you can make it last for hours on end if you upcast it. So yeah, Dominate Person's one of those scary spells that just can really change the face of the game real quick. Now, number 3 on this list is Synaptic Static. Synaptic Static is a wonderful AoE damage spell, just like Fireball, except better. It's a 20-foot radius area. Creatures make an intelligence save against it, and if they fail, they take 8d6 psychic damage. That's a great save to target, and it is a great damage type, because very few creatures will be able to resist it or resist the damage. And if a creature does fail its save, they also get Muddled Thoughts, which means they have to subtract a d6 from their attacks, ability checks, and concentration checks for the next minute. They can keep trying to shake this off by making more intelligence saves, but they're probably not going to make them. So yeah, Synaptic Static just does all of the damage of the big AoE spells, but with extra power and more targeted ability score targets, like using intelligence instead of dex or constitution. It's really, really potent and a wonderful room clearer if you don't want to risk the fireball being resisted. Now, number 2 on this list is one of the best spells in all of the game, and the fact that the wizard is the one that gets this is no surprise. This is Wall of Force. Wall of Force is an impenetrable force field. You cast it and concentrate on it for 10 minutes. You can either create 10 by 10 squares, which can form a wall, or a 10-foot radius dome. Once it's formed, it is invisible. You can see right through it. It's transparent. But it is completely indestructible. Nothing can go through this wall. You cannot cast spells through it. You cannot walk through it. It even blocks the ethereal plane. You cannot go ethereal and go through this wall. It can capture ghosts in theory. You can teleport through it as long as the teleport spell doesn't put you into the ethereal plane. But that's the only real way to escape from a wall of force. You can't even dispel it. It is immune to dispel magic. The only spell that can destroy it is a disintegrate spell. So yeah, you're going to be dealing with this wall. It is one of the best ways to lock enemies down or to block them from progressing. I have seen players use walls of force to keep ancient dragons at bay because they just can't break it. It's impossible. So yeah, it is a phenomenal battlefield control spell and one of the greatest in the entire game for control. The only spell that's better than it in my mind is Animate Objects. Animate Objects is a wonderful spell for many reasons. You animate up to 10 tiny or small objects, giving them flight and blind sight. They also have their own stat blocks of AC, attacking, damage, etc. You can also animate bigger objects if you want. You can animate up to 5 medium objects, up to 2 large objects, or 1 huge object, which has different stats. Once animated, it stays animated for a minute, and you can command it to do whatever you want. Most notably, this spell can be used to tear enemies to shreds, because once you animate 10 tiny objects, you give them a simple 1 bonus action command, go kill that thing, and they will all go over at the same time and attack it once each. So that's 10 attacks coming in, just ripping enemies apart. It does so much damage just through sheer numbers. But that's in combat. You could also use it to animate things to navigate through a puzzle, or to, work your way through a trap, or even to tear the walls apart, or to, stack things up. You could do anything with animate objects because the objects can fly and move wherever you want them to, and do anything that they're physically capable of doing, which typically consists of moving around. But the utility, the combat prowess, and everything like that makes animate objects just such a powerful spell that it has to go in the number 1 spot. If you can take animate objects, you should. And any wizard who just summons up a bunch of small things and just sends them in to do the fighting for him, you don't get much more wizardy than that. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below, and keep your eyes peeled for more spellcasting reviews coming down the line soon. Have a good one, my friends.